Hello and welcome to my website, Born in Hell. And this is a series. It's a video series that I'm doing for the Born in Hell website. Just looking at the abuse that was going on in my home, the dysfunction, and whatnot through the years, and kind of going in progression, in a chronological order for people who are interested in my story. Thanks everybody who's been supporting my work. I really appreciate it. My name is Laurie Smith. I'm a child abuse survivor. I'm an advocate, really, speaking out against abuse, standing up for children's rights, standing up for child protection, child abuse prevention. I started doing this back in really 2009. Started slowly getting into, working in this, but I'm just a person out here willing to speak about this stuff. My story is really graphic. I just choose to tell it like, tell the truth, right? And instead of sugarcoating it and making it sound better than it really was, um, because that doesn't do abuse victims or abuse survivors any justice at all. I just tell it like it is. And abuse is deadly. Abuse is horrible. I don't care what kind of abuse it is, whether it's abuse against humanity, a human, abuse, animal abuse. I don't care. Abuse is absolutely horrific, and it's just wrong. And if we don't keep talking about this and keep getting the word out and keep this from being shoved under the carpet, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? So I really appreciate everybody's support. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my story and listen to what I have to say. I like to be an encouragement for survivors out there. I never did attempt suicide, but my family members, quite a few of them, were suicidal, and suicide just was an option in our family. Everybody was always talking about it or threatening to do it or thinking about it. There was a few family members, I'm not sure if they did or not, but quite a few of us did, and that included me. Suicidal ideation was a part of my life. I had planned my suicides many times throughout the years, and I knew, that any one of them would work if I just wanted to implement the plans. And something always just kept telling me no, because I knew the pain of what that did to me when my brother committed suicide and then my other brother died of a drug overdose, which really was a suicide. And it's just horrific. It's absolutely horrific. So I decided to tell my story, and not only my story, but my brother's stories. This is really what spurred this on. My brothers went to their graves with really no one knowing how they, you know, the dysfunction and the mess that they came from, and the abuse and the garbage and the child protection services. There was an intervention done. My parents were brought up on abuse charges, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Really graphic stuff, explicit material, and so you have to listen at your own discretion. And you need to be sure that if it makes you uncomfortable, turn it off. Don't watch it. And my stuff is very very much like that. All of my stuff, my uh, blog talk radio audios that I'm actually uploading here on the site here, they're not quite as graphic as these videos and explicit, but they're still somewhat graphic and explicit because it's very sensitive material. And we're talking about abuse, and abuse is, especially child abuse, child sexual abuse. This type of thing is can make people very uncomfortable. It's very sensitive information. And so if you're not sure if it's going to bother you, please don't watch. And if you're a survivor, you make sure you're far along in your healing enough journey to be able to watch this or to listen to any of my audios uploads, and so that you don't regress in your healing journey. And if you're a minor, please have an adult, a parent, some sort of adult parental consent before you listen to my stuff or watch my videos, and make sure that it's age appropriate for you. I have no idea how young the children are that might be watching these videos. I always put a graphic, explicit warning on anything that is, and I try to be very careful with that. Child abuse prevention is my number one goal. And so we'll get right into this. We left off for year 18. We're going to pick up at 1920 now. And my 18th year, like I had, if you go back and listen to my last video, I had a bad car accident. I was wanting to move out from my abuser parents' house. My physical abuse stopped when I was 17. My mom never did attempt to hit me again, and neither did my dad. They never attempted any physical violence towards me at all after the age of 17. But the verbal insults, the psychological abuse, the emotional abuse, the things that they knew would hurt me with the digs, it wasn't physical abuse anymore, but it became just as damaging, because it was always there with the physical assaults. And it just continued on. So I had planned on moving out, but I had a bad car accident. So you can go back and watch that one if you want to. Um, and couldn't move out. So I'm stuck here, with my parents until I can get things straightened out. I'm thinking maybe a couple of years, right? Because I'm in a cast and on crutches. I'll be in a cast for a year. I'll be on crutches for another year after that with physical rehab. So I've got a 2-year healing journey here at the age of 18. I'm thinking, well, maybe by the time I'm 20, I can move out. My parents are actually at this point not treating me all that bad. There's still the dysfunction. There's still, that never changed, right? I mean, my parents didn't just wake up one day and become different people, right? And neither did I. And so, we're all still very dysfunctional, but we're trying to make it work at this point. Um, the cast comes off. I'm now 19, right? And I've had some fun. I got to be in my friend's band, Tammy Bain. She's a friend of mine. She's still my good friend, and it's unfortunate I didn't really spend enough time with her down in the States that I should have when I was living in the States before I moved to Canada, because she's a beautiful person. She's just a lovely lady, and she's a good friend. And she looked me up here in Canada, and got in touch with me years later. Um, we had been in her band. She had a band, and it was fun. We had such a good time doing this. I sang backup vocals, and I did some sort of fun things here and there. And but it didn't last long because Diana, my friend, who I had been hanging around with, my friend Di, um, we're older now. We're doing more drugs. We're hanging around with people that are doing heavy drugs. We're talking cocaine. We're talking speedballs. Meth, crystal meth. Horrible, absolutely horrible drugs. I swear when I was 12 years old, before I was 12, I would never do drugs. No. And now I've been smoking marijuana, smoking pot, really marijuana since I was 12. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 12 to 19, 7 years smoking pot steady, as well as doing drugs. Right? Most, especially later, towards 15, 16, started mixing in the other drugs, right? So I'm now quite the drug user. I maintain my jobs. Actually, after this car wreck, I need money because I got to pay my doctor bill off, which was quite a lot of money, thousands of dollars. I got to get another car because I got the wheels. My dad's driving me and my mom to work, and I can't get out and party, right? And I'm a drug user, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to get jobs because I would never steal for drugs. There's no way. So I get 3 jobs, and I start working, and I'm working. I'm even working on my crutches, right? And stand-up jobs on my crutches. I was like, I'm going to do this. Very determined, right? So I did. I actually got a car. I paid it off really fast because I was working 3 jobs. Problem is, I wasn't sleeping. When you work 3 jobs, especially if you work a graveyard job and then you work a day job and then you work a weekend job, it really doesn't leave any time for sleep. I was getting about, I don't know, 2-3 hours of sleep a night, and this went on and on and on. I would just get a couple hours sleep here and there, right? I'm used to feeling like crap. I've been beat to rat shit my whole life, right? I'm used to waking up in the morning, with aches and pains and, headaches from getting my head smashed into walls. My dad especially throwing me into those walls. My mom, beating on me all the time. I'm used to not feeling well. And the sexual abuse, the child sexual abuse, the infection that occurred from that when I was 8 years old, that caused me to be barren. I'm used to being in pain. I'm used to being sick. I'm used to being hurt. And I'm used to being sore. I'm used to being tired. By the time I was this age, I was exhausted way beyond what I should have been. And this just put it over the edge, right? I'm working 3 jobs, my health is no good. I'm losing a lot of weight. Not taking care of myself. I'm starting to fall asleep at the wheel when I'm driving, and really just physically breaking down, you know. Um, at this point, my attitude has not changed. I really don't care about myself. That's why I'm doing this, right? It doesn't matter to me if I do too many drugs and I don't wake up, right? Because I'm just that piece of shit, right? I'm that little piece of shit that just had to be backhanded. I do that on purpose because I want people to know that my mom's backhand was in my face steady. And it wasn't just a little backhand. It was a bam with the side of her. She loved to beat on me, right? So I was just this piece of shit rape child, that always needed to be beat on. I'm dead, right? I died at 10 years old. Actually, I died when my brother sexually abused me. I died when he raped me, and then I was dead after that beating when my mom broke my nose at 10 years old. And I really wanted to be dead at that point. I was like, I'm dead. You've all killed me. There's nothing left. So I'm 19. 9 years later, I'm still dead. Nothing's happened. I have no boyfriends. I've never been on a date. I've never even gone anywhere as a boyfriend girlfriend type thing with a guy because I don't let guys touch me. Nobody gets close. I have a lot of guy friends, but it's just friends, and there's not going to be anything going on there because nobody touches me. Nobody gets close. This way, I don't have to tell them that I was raped as a child and that I can't deal with them touching me, right? So this is my way of protecting myself, right? And no, I don't go get help. In my family, we were not encouraged to get help. There was no help. I mean, the social services was involved, and there was no help, right? So, no one's going to help you. No one came to help me when my brother was raping me, and my mom knew about it. Now, I don't think my dad knew about it. No, and no, I seriously don't think that anybody in the family other than my mother knew about it. But she didn't do anything to help me. No, there's no help, right? All the domestic violence that went on in our home, my mom could have got help. We were trained that this was our life because my mom would say stuff like that. She'd be like, "This is our life, and you better get used to it." If we started complaining or whatever, she'd be threatening a beating, and she'd be like, "This is the way it is." So when you grow up with that, you don't go seeking help, right? I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust anybody. I knew how my parents were going to treat me, but I didn't know how anybody else was going to treat me. I really didn't trust very many people. So, I'm just moving along, 19 years old, going to physical therapy, for my ankle, trying to get my ankle to heal up. At this time, Diana Howard, my friend, she's having a lot of problems. That's the girl in the picture with Levita Juvies with the red shirt. She's grown up. She's 2 years younger than me. I'm 19, going on 20. So she's 17 going on 18, and she's real pretty now. She's grown taller. She's really become a beautiful girl, a beautiful woman, and a young woman. And her mom's boyfriend soon became the husband, her stepdad, which he didn't obviously adopt them. But the thing is her and her sister, he started abusing the family, and the mother, instead of getting rid of this loser, she keeps him around, and he destroys their family. He actually made things so incredibly bad that he came between her mother and the daughters, and the mother took his side, and they had to move out. One of them, her sister, was 2 years younger than her, so she was like 14 years old, 15 years old, something like that, not knowing what she's going to do. Absolutely horrific. He was beating on her, literally, like she looked like me after the beatings that my mom used to give me. I was like, you look like I did when my mom was beating the shit out of me. I told her, you need help. You need an intervention done. No. She did the same thing I did, and she chose to stay in that until she could get out. Right? So many children are abused and do not ever get help, and it's heartbreaking. It's heart wrenching. So, she ends up with meeting this guy, and we all do. And we all start hanging around, and they become serious. They're a unit, right? They move in together. I'm living with my parents, my abuser parents still, and we're 19, we're still 19. And he's a speedballer. He's a cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, he shoots up. He is a big time drug user. This guy Charming, no doubt. But and when he was behaving himself, very nice guy to be around, with a lot of baggage, a lot of problems. We all had baggage. We all grew up in these abusive homes. All of us were coming from dysfunction, abuse of some type. Some of it worse than others. But it was all there, and we all knew it. Now this guy, him and his sister and their other sister, actually won in court, won a case of child abuse against their parents because their dad, actually both their parents who were alcoholics, their dad had beaten them with, I guess, with a whip or whatever, and he scarred their legs for life. They literally couldn't wear shorts in public because they were so embarrassed by the scars on the backs of their legs from this beatings that the dad would give them that scarred them for life, that the oldest sister, who was only 16 at the time, this was before we met, actually won in court and got possession of the two of him and their younger sister away from the parents, right? So he's telling us his story, right? And we know, obviously, we're all doing drugs, all of us. None of us are who's any better than the other one. We're all doing drugs. The thing is, he's dangerous because he's doing drugs that put people over the edge. And he's got a lot of anger because he was abused, and he has no way to control it. He's never had any therapy. He's never had any help, right? To help him to get past this. I haven't. I've got a lot of problems too. My friend Di hasn't. She's got a lot of problems too. All three of us, and there was more, which I won't even go into details because there was so many more of us. It was a group of dysfunctional friends that became a family, right? And we had already started out on the block. When my friend knocked on my door, Di, when I didn't know her, I knew who she was, but she wasn't my friend, and she knocked on my door, knock, knock, knock. You want to come out and hang with us? All of these people all had really messed up lives, you know what I mean? So it wasn't just me, But my friend, she really loved this guy. They're living together, and he's quite abusive, but she is too. He's violent. She's violent. She's the one who used to throw fits at the birthday parties, and I thought she was a bit of a brat when she was little because she was always causing problems for people at the birthday parties, right? So we're partying, and it's a bad news thing. We're doing a lot of drugs. It's a coke party. We're not talking Coca-Cola. We're talking cocaine. And we're drinking. We're doing coke. I never was really into cocaine. I didn't really like it, but I'm there doing it anyway because this is what my friends are doing, right? And we're all just doing what we normally do, doing the same old thing. Unbelievable. I wouldn't want my kids getting involved in that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, no way. So he ends up shooting up while we're all out in the living room and dining room, a big pile of cocaine on the table. A big pile of cocaine on the table. And it's not mine, it's his. But we're all doing it. And he comes out of the bathroom and he kind of passes out because he's shot up, right? So we're not thinking anything about him because we're drinking, we're having fun. He's just passed out. That's fine. Well, he wakes up and he freaks out. And he starts going crazy, literally. Now, I'm used to this. This is what I grew up with all my life. Abuse and garbage. But he throws a chair and hits Diane with it, my friend Di. Hits her with the chair. He grabs that table with the big pile of cocaine on it, and he flips it over, and that sucker was heavy. Really heavy. He's violent. He was a big guy. Probably weighed I don't know what he weighed, 250 pounds. He's tall. He's probably like 6 feet tall or 6'2" or something. He's not as big as my mother, but he's pretty big, and he's tough, and he's high, really high. And he starts threatening to kill her, right? So she takes off. She takes off out the back door, out the side door. And he's freaking out. He can't find her. I'm still there. I'm trying to get my purse and my keys, right? So I'm grabbing my purse and my keys because my car's out in the parking lot. I'm leaving. I'm like, I'm not sticking around here with people hitting people with chairs and all this stuff. No, I'm gone. So I'm grabbing my stuff. I had no idea that he would do this to me, right? And he has me up against the wall within 2 seconds. Slammed up against the wall with his hand on my throat, like this, choking me. And he's like, I could kill you. I could kill you. He's got his hand like this, he's got me shoved against the wall. And I just looked at him and I said, why would you want to do that? I'm like your only goddamn friend. I'm one of your only goddamn friends. And you want to kill me? I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, because you can't kill me. Because I'm already dead. And he just lets go. I grab my purse and my keys and I go out to my car. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people doing this. Why is everybody in my life always got me up against the wall, threatening to kill me, right? I mean, it's like, well, because I'm in bad situations, just as bad as my home. Yeah, sure, my parents didn't drink and they didn't have big piles of cocaine around, but they sure made it known that they wanted to kill me. This is all really just normal for me. But I'm getting tired of it. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Now I'm having to take this from somebody's boyfriend, my friend's boyfriend. So I'm starting to get pissed off, right? I go out in the parking lot, I have a bottle of Bacardi 151 with me, which is really stupid because I picked it up off the table. And I get mad and I throw that bottle on the ground and I crash the bottle in the middle of the parking lot, just making a scene. I'm high, right? Doing drugs, drinking. Can't think straight. I get in my car and Di is actually she's in the front seat. Actually, she climbs in the front seat because she sees me coming. And Ray, he's running around looking for her. So I'm like, she's like, shh, like that. Like, in other words, don't alert him that she's there, right? Because she's down, like on the floor, right? I'm like, so I start the engine. And I get ready to pull away, and my window's like partway down. And it's like enough where you can reach in there and, Well, Ray, out of the blue, I guess saw what was going on. And came and punched me in the face. Boom! Punched me in the face and grabbed my keys. So he slammed me in the face, and then he reaches in, takes my keys, and throws them. Like that. I'm stuck now. I've been punched in the face by a person who's supposed to be my friend, right? And I'm just like, what the hell? So Diane, my friend Di, she gets out of the vehicle and starts running. I'm like, Di, get over here. At least stay in the car with the doors locked. You know what I mean? We'll just roll up the windows. It had just busted them out. She takes off, and I'm like, oh, shit, right? So I freak out. I jump out of my vehicle. I go looking for my keys, and they're in a big grass yard. I got to go looking for these keys. And I'm running around. I'm looking on the grass. I'm like, where the hell's my keys? Where the hell's my keys? Freaking out. I got to hurry because I don't want her to get her ass beat, because that's what he would have done. If he would have caught her, he would have beat her ass. Put her in a hospital probably. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, I got to find him. I find him. I pick him up. I'm like, oh, shit. I run back to the car. I start the car, and I pull out, and I'm peeling out, right? And here she comes, booking around the side of the building. And I haul ass. I get up there. She jumps in the car, and we're gone. And I'm like, why? Why do people do these things? Why do people do these things? I'm sitting here going, this is crazy. Like, why do people stay in this? Why do people do these things? Many times because they don't feel they have a choice. Or they love that person. Even though they beat them and they hurt them, that was my case. My mom beating the shit out of me. I love my mom. And I thought she needed to be protected. And I was the last one in the house. Who was going to protect her from my dad? Until I decided to move out at the age of 17 and couldn't do it, right? So, it was just horrific, right? I want to be, at this point, I get her to safety and she's cool. She's fine for a few days. He actually mellows out because he ended up passing out and actually, sleeping because he's a junkie, right? After he wakes up from his crazy, manic, insane behavior, he doesn't remember any of it. He remembers none of it, right? So they end up back together. Yep. She goes back with him. She didn't move, she's not leaving him. So, and I'm just saying, look, you got to watch that because he could kill you. She's like, oh, I'll kill him first before he kills me. And I'm like, what kind of a life is that? It's the same life that we've been living this whole time. Do you really want to continue that on? You really want to keep doing this? Because I wanted something different. I wanted something different. I didn't want somebody's fist in my face. I didn't want any more of that, right? I mean, I suffered a lot more physical violence as a child than she did. That's for sure. But she knew what it was to be hit and beat on. And I thought, there's no way you can enjoy that. Having somebody punch you in the face, having somebody break your nose, have somebody beat you half to death, and walk away. Got that little bitch, I wanted to be a woman. I'm almost 20, no boyfriends, no dates, no, because nobody touches me. No, I'm not a woman. I'm no sex, right? That's from child rape. That's from being raped for about a year at 8 years old. That's what that will do. I just want to have a normal life. I just want to do things that normal people do. And I'm not talking about just painting my nails and going shopping with the girls. I'm not talking about that. I have no interest in that. I want an abuse-free life with people that care about each other and, people that are willing to sit down and talk, and, get off the drugs, Even though the other part of me says, doesn't matter. I'm dead. I'm just that piece of shit, right? I'm a piece of shit. I'm a fucking whore. Yeah. Because my brother raped me at the age of 8 years old, I'm a fucking whore. As if I wanted that. As if I asked for that. Tied up, bound and gagged, and hurt. Incredibly bad. Made barren. So that decision was made for me. I had nothing to do with it. So, I just want to be a normal person. I just want to just have a good, nice, quiet, abuse-free life, right? I like the party scene too, but without the abuse, you know what I mean? I'm still doing drugs, right? And I haven't really thought about getting off of them, but I'm thinking there's got to be something better. There has to be something better, somewhere. So this all just kind of continues on. We're still partying, right? My ankle's healing up. I'm able to walk around now without, too much trouble. It's, it's getting better. I'm still kind of, working on paying off my doctor bill. It takes me 2 years. So at the age of 20, I'm still paying off this doctor bill and I'm still living with my abuser parents. I roll around. I hit 20 years old. We moved though. We're off the block. We finally moved off the block when I'm 19 years old. And that's the last time we lived on that block, and I was happy to get away from it because I had a lot of bad memories there. So we moved over to this other apartment. And I feel like I need to be there because my mom's health's starting to go downhill. She's getting older. I'm 20. She's 58. I'm 20. My dad is 62. And he's still trying to rape her. Well, go figure. Who knew that this was going to continue on for the rest of my mom's life? And I'm having to tell him, you back off. You go to your room. I'm too old now. He can't beat me up. Because I'm too old and I'm about 5'8". Now I'm skinny, but I'm not fooling around. Those days are done. So he listens to me. I tell him, you go to your room and you stay there and you leave mom alone. So I'm still having to keep an ear, just in case. I never got any good sleep. Never. Didn't matter what house we were living in. I was either being raped by my brother, or I had to keep an ear for my mom, or I had to keep an ear for somebody. Absolutely horrific. Being woken up by my dad coming in my room saying he's going to kill everybody. So I'm used to not feeling well. That's why I don't take care of myself. right? And that's why a lot of this situation happens with a lot of people who live in dysfunction and abuse, right? It's because it's a lifestyle. It's what you do. It's my life, right? So I'm living still with my parents, you know, but it doesn't really matter because Di's with her crazy boyfriend who's absolutely insane, and they fight. You know, they fight all the time. And I'm worried about her, but she's making her decisions, you know. And it's like we're still hanging around. I'm working. I'm not working 3 jobs anymore though. Only like I think 2 now. And I'm trying to get some more rest, you know, get some more rest. So trying to sort of do a little bit better. And you know, I'm still hanging around because I'm trying to help my mom. This was the whole thing. It was all about my mom. See. Now, as I continue on through these video series, you will see that it was all about my mom. All of it. And it still is. Because the people that know what she did to me still think that it's all about my mom. And they will not acknowledge the abuse that she dished out. They will not acknowledge it. No. Now, my friends would, because they saw it. You know, there were a lot of people that saw what was going on. So, I mean, I have validation. But these other people that saw would still say, oh, you were just a brat. You needed to be treated like that. What kid needs to have their mom bust their nose? You know, and beat them so many times in the face that there's damage to my skin and there's scratches all over my skin. My lips are disfigured. This whole area of my skin, one of them is from a marshmallow burn, actually, this one. This is a marshmallow burn I got when I was camping. This over here is from being beaten and backhanded across the face. You know, just steady as they go. I got a lot of scratches all over my head. That's not all from the car accident. These are the wounds, you know, that I got to look at in the mirror from damage check and damage control after all the beatings. No kid deserves that. I'm sorry. No kid deserves to have their head bashed in by their mother, you know. No kid deserves that. You know, it just continues on and on and on, right? So people, you know, I mean, it is what it is, but for survivors out there, that's what I keep saying, man. You know, you hang in there, right? And do not give up, because we did not deserve that, right? So I'm 20, I come in the house, I got off work. And I come in the house, my mom's crying. She's crying at the kitchen table. That was not uncommon to see her crying, because my mom was allowed to cry. See, we weren't allowed to cry. She beat the shit out of you, man, literally. You stop crying right now. Stop that right now. She'd be like beating your ass. And then, you know, and then you keep crying. And she'd be like, until you stopped crying and pull yourself together, that's when she stopped hitting you, right? So you learn very quickly. No, you don't cry. Doesn't matter how bad it fucking hurts. Don't matter what the hell's going on. You don't cry. But she cries. My life, my children, my rotten children. Goddamn children never done a thing for me to help me. Made my life so miserable. My fucking husband. You know, she can sit there and cry the blues and all the neighbors. Oh, Barb, I know. You just had such shitty children. You know, it's no wonder you had to beat the shit out of them. You know what I mean? I'm ad-libbing here. But, you know, this is what I'm saying. It's really a crock of shit is what it is. I want people to know. And I laugh in some of this stuff, and you can go back and watch my videos. Some of the scenes I laugh at because it's heinous. It's heinous that it makes me laugh. Because it's so twisted. You know, that it is quite funny when you think about it. But it's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time. You know, and I wasn't laughing at the time. I never laughed once when my mom beat my ass, or when my brother raped me, or when my dad beat me, especially, you know, belt across the face, belt buckle across the face. That's what he loved to do. He loved that, man. Any chance he got, because he's like, yeah, I'm a man. He'd put his fist in my ribs, and he'd like dig into my ribs while he's pulling off his belt. He's digging into my ribs, and then he'd pull it, and he whipped me across the face with a belt buckle. You know, and I'm like, fuck you. I just tell him right to his face, I fucking hate you. I didn't care. They beat the shit out of me. I don't care. That's what that does. So she's crying. She's crying at the table. And I come in and I'm like, I'm used to kind of seeing this. And I'm thinking, what the hell is her problem now? Poor thing. She's probably not feeling well, or, you know, maybe thinking about how bad her children were or something, you know, especially me. I'm just so rotten. Never did anything for her. Never helped her out. Even though I've been taking her ass to the doctor since I was 16 years old because she don't want my dad to. Never helped her out. Wrote poems for her, these beautiful poems in Spanish. And I would read them to her. And I would translate them and I would give them to her. She wouldn't take them. She wouldn't accept them. So I'd take them and I was young. I was like in 11th, well, not, I was 11 years old. I was in like 7th grade, 8th grade, right? I started taking Spanish and I actually almost became fluent in Spanish, right? So I can speak Spanish. So I can read, write, and speak Spanish. So I take these poems, you know, I'd write her these beautiful poems, you know, in Spanish. I'd be like, you're my moon and my stars and my sun. You're the most beautiful mother in the whole world. Because I wanted her to love me. I wasn't lying, man. I was being serious. I was like, I want you to love me. I'm gonna write poems for you so that you'll love me. Now this is as she's 2 weeks before beating the shit out of me. Spilled my blood. But see, I love my mom, right? So I write her these beautiful poems, and she wouldn't take them. She wouldn't accept them. Why? Because they were from me, that fucking little rape child that she didn't want in the fucking first place. She should have died with the other stillborn babies. Yeah. So I get them. I take my poems that I write from my mom, and they're on little pieces of paper because we didn't have much to work with, and I stick them with push pins on my wall, and I look at them. And I'd be like, I don't know why she doesn't love me. Even though she's told me a million times, I hate your fucking guts, you know? No, I never did anything for her. No, never. So, but anyway, she's sitting at the table crying. Back to the story. I'm 20 years old now. She's like, Kevin called. That's my brother in Canada. He's the oldest son. There's my sister Irene, and then Kevin, and so he's 16 years older than me. So he's 16 years old. I'm 20. He's 16 years older, so he's 36. He phones my mom to tell her that my brother's been found dead. My brother, Rob. The one that sexually abused me. He committed suicide. He had always been trying. He's the one that sliced his wrist and called me on the phone at 12 and a half years old to tell me how much he loved what he did to my body. Isn't that nice? Well, he finally made it. He killed himself. After several attempts, many different times. He made it. He killed himself. He was a cocaine user, big time cocaine user. But that wasn't his real problem. His real problem was that he grew up in a house with two parents that said, welcome to our hell. Yeah, welcome to our hell. That's exactly what it was. So my mom's sitting there going, they found Rob's body. It was suicide. He killed himself. He finally killed himself. Right? And I'm like, well, isn't that just fucking great? This is exactly what I said. I said, that's just fucking great news. That's good to hear. And my mom's like, well, don't you care? Don't you care? And I'm like, it's you guys' fault that he's killed himself. He may have had drug problems, whatever. You two put him there. You allowed him to do the drugs. It's a little too late. It's just a little too late for tears. Sorry. That's all I say. Right? And I walk out. And I leave and I go to my friend's house for the day and I smoke a pot and hang around, tell her my bro killed himself. But I don't tell her that he sexually abused me as a child. And that I'm sitting there thinking, Am I supposed to care that he killed himself? Is this something I'm supposed to care about? Am I supposed to be having some feelings here of compassion and empathy that most people would have for a family member if they found out their family member committed suicide? You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there with my friend. She's a very good friend of mine, and we're smoking a joint, just hanging out together. She knows I'm upset, but I'm sitting there. She doesn't know what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, why the hell should I care? Why should I care? The dude raped me, sodomized me, sexually abused me for a year, almost a year. I sat in bathtubs of bloody water, holding my knees because my legs wouldn't hold me. I couldn't stand up in the bathtub. My legs were just shaking. I was just sick. Sick. I'm supposed to care? Now I'm a woman, 20-year-old, and I can't even have any relationships with any guys because I can't let them touch me because it may lead to sexual intercourse. And I can't do that. No. So am I supposed to care that my brother killed himself? I was like, I really don't. My friend actually took a picture of us sitting there that day. And I have that picture, and you can see on my face that I really don't care that my brother killed himself. I'm sad for him because, really, to be honest with you, I mean, at the time I didn't care. But later on I thought, no, I'm sad for him because, I knew what he went through as a child. I'm not a bad person. I knew what he went through as a child. I'm the one. My dad was hitting. Actually, what happened was my brother Rob. He was the one that my dad got busted for child abuse charges with because my dad had beaten him up. And he one day, this was when I was 4, when I told you guys in one of the earlier videos where my dad didn't want to hear me saying anything, so he was like choking me and slapping me on the couch. Don't talk to me, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I'm 4 years old. I'm not allowed to, of course, say anything, right? Or I get beat. That's why when I went to school, I thought everybody was going to beat me because that's what was going on, And so what happened was the reason I got that little beating on the couch at the age of 4 years old was because my brother had his legs over the side of the chair, and my dad started beating on him because he wouldn't. He was like, get your legs off that chair, boy! I'm gonna beat your ass. And my brother's sitting there, and he's just looking at him like, what difference does it make? You beat us anyway. What, am I supposed to just be scared or something? It's like, you're gonna beat us anyway. What the hell does it really matter? So my dad starts beating on him. And I'm like, you stop it. Don't hit my brother, I said. And then my dad comes over and slaps me around. I'm like, why should, so yes, I understand where he came from. At this point in my life, at the age of 20, when he committed suicide, I did not care. No. Why? Because I had taken that child sexual abuse, child rape. It wasn't just some sort of, fondling or anything like that. I'm not going to go into any more details. It was child rape. Okay? Plain and simple. I am now barren, but I don't know this yet, right? Because of the scars, right? Because he literally ripped me, right? That's why I'm bleeding in the tub, right? Bad, 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 bad. So I put all that in that little drawer that I was telling you guys about just a few shows back. I opened the drawer, put the child sexual abuse in there. I shut the drawer, take the key, I turn the lock, put it away. That's what I do. That's how I deal. That's how I'm able to get through, right? So at this point, I'm not thinking really so much about that. I'm just thinking, I don't care about him. I know that, right? So that is sort of the start of 20, and we'll leave off here, and we'll pick up like 21. We'll just jump like 21, and we'll go from there. So, do all you can to protect children. I say this all the time because some people, it's a bit repetitive, but somebody might be catching my show for the first time and not have gone back and saw the other ones. And I want people to know, you know, child abuse prevention, it's so important. Learn the signs, learn the symptoms, learn how to protect your own children, avoid one-on-one adult-child contact, and you can pretty well stop child sexual abuse. You won't be able to stop it all, but you can stop a lot of it. And, know what to look for, and watch out so that your own children are not being abused, right? If you are abusing your children, you stop it right now and you go get some serious help. Because your children don't deserve that, right? And nobody does. If you're a survivor out there, you keep walking this walk, you keep getting up every day. It doesn't matter how hard it is. And I'm sorry, but I say this because I have to be hard on myself, right? Because my husband's terminally ill. I also deal with all of this. I have painful memories. I actually have body memories. I also have a lot of body problems because of the abuse. I've got, back problems, neck problems, hip problems, and everything else, right? So some days are better than others, right? And so what I tell you is, it doesn't matter, you're having a hard day, you can't cope, you call a crisis line. You call somebody and you get some help. And you do not be destroyed by this. No. We deserve so much better. And it doesn't change unless we reach out. That's why I started to reach out, because I was going to kill myself at the age of 42. I was pretty sure I was going to do it. I hadn't attempted it, but I was quite sure that I couldn't take anymore. I've been there. I've been there so many times that, I was ready to drive my car over the Grand Canyon. It was just making that decision to step on the gas, because I lived there for about a year. I did that really for a reason, because I thought I could go over the edge. Gone. I had so many ideas, right? And so I'm telling you, I'm so glad I stuck it out, because because I care about myself enough to stay alive and to do this, and to try to every day try to heal, try to help somebody else, try to help myself, right? And in doing that, that is a slap in my abuser's faces. That's a slap in my mom's face. It's a slap in my dad's face, and it's a slap in my brother's face every single day that I wake up. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm making it, man. I'm doing it. And you can do it too. God bless you all. Talk to you soon.